question mark. Everyone watching, do me a favor, please. If you're watching this on Facebook, click the share button so you can share this with your friends and loved ones. And then if you can, maybe later go to our Community Cafe Facebook page and then click to follow us so you can get our future updates and our reminders of doing our Community Cafe. If you have any questions following today's Community Cafe, just do us a favor, probably send it to us. Might be the easiest way on Facebook. And then one of us will get it and then reroute it to the other one of the three of us that the question properly belongs to, and then we can get responses back to you. Glenn, Chris, thank you so much for joining me here today. But guys, I kind of view this topic as, let's say, like a generic topic that applies to all of us working with any professional. And how super relevant this topic is here for us today is, I was in a situation last week with my son Garrett, and it really applies to this exact topic. So I took my son to an orthopedic surgeon because he's got relatively flat feet, and he's fractured his tibia, which is a shin bone, in 2 different places in like 12 months, just from basic running. And it's like the lack of the arch in the foot is doesn't take that absorption, so the absorption is being handled in the shin bone, and he fractured it. So it's very painful, and walking around is just a long recovery process from this. So we decided we're going to go see an orthopedic surgeon and see if there's anything we need to do with his feet. I scheduled with 2 referrals, 2 different orthopedic surgeons in the same part of town, 2 different practices, back to back, about an hour and a half apart. The first doctor gave us like 15 minutes. Not only was he 30 minutes late to the meeting, but he gave us 15 minutes together, took the x-rays, and he's basically telling us, okay, we want to cut off your heel bone here. We want to move it over to the side here. We want to put a screw in it. And then we're going to cut these tendons here. We're going to rewrap it around over here and do this. And he says, that's your only option. If you've tried orthotics in your foot, in your shoes, he says, this is really your only option. This is what you need to recommend. And he was somewhat convincing, but there really wasn't more to it. There wasn't options. It was one option, and there wasn't pros and cons. So we go to the next doctor about an hour and a half later, and this guy also came highly recommended. And this guy was an absolute rock star. You can just tell from the moment that he walked in, he was a very different personality type. He was asking all kinds of questions, and when myself or Garrett, we didn't answer that question just right, he would correct us and re-ask the question a certain way so we can get that answer. And, you know, he's probably in that room with us for like 30 minutes. He took a look at the x-rays as well, and he said, you should not have surgery. And he says, let me guess. The other surgeon you saw recommended surgery, and he recommended this particular type of surgery. And we're like, yes, that's exactly. He figured that out already on his own. And he says, I wouldn't do this surgery. Here's why. You have option to do this, you have an option to do this, you have an option to do this. Here's the pros and cons, here's the pros and cons, here's the pros and cons. If it was me at my age with my feet, I would do this. Your son's only 18. I think he should do this. If it was my son, he should do this. The bottom line is he gave us multiple options, and he gave us the pros and cons, and then he explained the why behind it. And to that to me said, he was acting as a trusted advisor. He was acting like a business owner, and he wasn't acting like a salesperson. So we face this in everyday business with our clients. And that's one of the things I appreciate so much about you guys is kind of how you approach things with clients. So I thought I'd start off this Community Cafe by sharing this story that just happened to us last week.
You know, it's interesting you say that, Mark. To me, the people that you and I and Glenn compete with on a daily basis, the things that I hear most is that the people get treated almost like a commodity, not the humanity that I try and treat people with, and I know that you do too. You know, when I sit down in a meeting with Glenn and I watch him talk about, you know, the aspects of the estate planning, I see him try and connect with people in their specific situation. And here's what you could do, and let's talk about the implications of the decisions that you're making. And to me, that's the difference between somebody coming in and saying, here's a document, let's figure out how to fit you into that blueprint, as opposed to let's figure out what the best thing for you is and be creative with that. You know, that human side to me is the most important part of what we do. Do you agree with that?
I certainly do. I mean, I think the value of any professional advisor is in the advice they give. It's not in the products they sell. It's in the advice they give. Mark, I'm reminded of your story. There's a story I heard told time back about an electrician who's called to a home. The home's lost all power, right? There's no power in the home. So the electrician comes in and he spends about an hour just walking around the house, crawling around in the basement, looking at things. Finally, he comes upstairs after looking around and he taps on the wall and all the power comes on. And he hands the homeowner a bill for $500. And the homeowner objects and says, wait a minute, you're charging me $500 to tap on the wall? You didn't do anything except tap on the wall. And the electrician says, no, I'm charging you $1 to tap on the wall, $499 to know where to tap. And, you know, the point of that is it's in the advice that people give, that advisors give, is where their value is at. So you want to work with advisors who know what they're talking about, who understand, who give the options, who know enough to be able to give that. But then, Chris, to your point, it's the humanity. It's treating people the right way, you know, the way we would want to be treated. And, you know, I've always lived by, my mom taught me growing up, we all put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time. And there's no difference between, you know, treat people right, make sure your advice is tailored to their individual circumstances, and spend the time. You know, you're not the doctor comes in and, you know, doesn't have time, 30 minutes late and gives you 15 minutes and is out of there. You know, those are just not people that I want to work with. I want people who, you know, are going to spend the time and understand the situation, give the advice. And that's really what I like with working with you guys, and why I refer so many of my clients to First Option Bank, Affinity Asset Management, because as I tell clients all the time, you guys both knock it out of the ballpark when it comes to customer service, client service, treating people the way they should be treated. And you have the professional credentials and advice to back it up. You give great advice. So I absolutely agree with everything you both said.
Well, that's kind of that same subject is, you know, I personally, myself and my family, as you guys know, we're clients of you guys. You guys have both worked with both my family and myself. And I don't think you guys treat me any better than you would treat any other clients just because we do business together and we're friends. I've interacted with a lot of my other clients that I've referred to both of you guys. I know exactly how you interact with people, and you kind of treat us all the same. And yeah, we're all good friends on this, you know, Community Cafe. But at the end of the day, you treat me with the same respect that second doctor treated me and my son. And I think that's powerful. And Glenn, recently, you know, updating our estate plan with you, it was nice to be able to just talk about pros and cons. And my wife and I had some ideas in our heads as kind of what we thought, you know, if this was to happen, how we handle certain things. But then you would come back and say, okay, that's a good idea. Let me share with you a couple of other ideas that other people have done. And here's the pros and cons with that. And so I think this is what I think all three of our industries, the banking industry, the trust department industry, the estate planning industry, the money management industry like mine, I think it lacks. I meet people all the time that I'll ask questions in the early meetings, tell them about their experience with their advisor, and it's usually always positive, positive, positive. But when I start going deeper with the questions, have you guys had a chance to talk about this? Or have you had a chance to talk about that? And like the answers are always no, no, no. Okay, so really this particular financial advisor, you're expecting them to do all of these things, but really all they did was these couple of things because they never asked. And so the clients kind of feel a little silly, like, well, I don't always know what questions to ask. I don't know what I don't know. I kind of expect them to advise me, ask me questions, get to know me, and advise me. And so that's kind of like with you guys, Chris, with you working with some of my family, I was there to be a part of that and asking you some questions on their behalf, which you were great with all the answers, gave us options, explained things, and then Glenn, the same thing with you. So yeah, I find that too many professionals out there, doesn't matter what the industry is, act like salespeople, and they don't act like a business owner. But in reality, every salesperson, to some degree, all three of us are considered salespeople. We're all business owners. We're all business owners because we can control our schedule, we can control our time, and we can control how we treat people.
It's interesting the way that you say that, because I've been witness to the growth that Affinity Asset Management has gone through in the last 10 years, and I've watched Glenn's practice grow. And the one thing that's been constant in that is the way that people are treated. And I think too often when I look at my competitors and I go take a look at trust departments that are growing and thriving, and I see that dynamic growth that they've gone through, what I don't see is the human factor in that what you call scalability. how do we take a practice when you were a smaller business? How do you treat the people that come in the same way that you did back then? How do you treat your new customers and your old customers the same so that they all feel like they're being taken care of? And I think you have an interesting take on that, Mark.
Well, thank you. Thank you. A lot of what we try to do here in this office is built around kind of one word: scalable. I have an amazing team around me, and I seriously mean, I have the best team I've ever had collectively right now. And everything is about how do we grow the company so that we can help more people in our community, but grow it in such a way that every new person that we work with is being treated the same, but yet we're not taking time or attention away from all of our already existing clients. So everything we do from money management, on placing trades, to how do we create withdrawals for clients when they need income, to just being available when they call and have random questions because something came up in their life to have questions. It's all about scalability. And the thing is, I see this in myself, but I also see that a lot of people in my industry don't. And I do a lot of public speaking every year in front of financial advisors. I also do a lot of coaching with financial advisors. And I see the mindset is just so different. It's the questions they ask are all geared around, okay, how can I make a sale, and how can I do marketing to make a sale, and things like, it's like, wow, I mean, you got so many more fundamental problems with the foundation of your practice that it needs to be dealt with first before you can focus on making sales. You got to go try to look to help people, not look to sell to people.
Well, I have clients that we manage their trust for, and every now and then I'll get a telephone call saying, well, we're set to meet with Glenn. And he's the only attorney that I know that reaches out to have a proactive meeting with a customer every year. Everybody else, they talk about that up front. They talk about retitling assets. They do all of that. And then when you walk out the door and you've paid them, they move on to the next customer. And Glenn's office is a little bit different. It's more consultative than it is transactional. Does that make sense?
I totally agree with that. Absolutely. And I want to piggyback on that. I absolutely agree with what you just said. Like you, I've worked with lots of clients who already have established relationships with attorneys, especially estate planning attorneys. Mm-hmm. And I'll hear from them that they haven't seen that attorney or even heard from that attorney for years and years and years and years. But yet Glenn is at least always, their office is always reaching out to people on an annual basis and at least offering, I'm available. Would you like to come in and see me and have an annual review, an annual checkup? Oh, and by the way, would you like to bring your kids in with you? Because one day your kid's going to be inheriting this stuff. Would you like them to be involved? Would you like them to be learning about this stuff? So, upon your passing, they have less of a learning curve to go through this stuff. He's always offering that. Now, people don't always have to take him up for it because maybe they're just not ready for a review, but at least he's being proactive to put it out there, where I have not come across any other law firm in Kansas City that does that. So kudos to you, Glenn.
And I guess as we sit here and it's kind of a kumbaya thing here, is we're talking, but we can say that about all three of us. I mean, I think, and that's why we've kind of gravitated towards each other and why we've become, referral partners, and that we can refer clients to each other, because we all share in that belief that it's back to the advice that we give and guiding the clients through here. And we've always seen that as a win-win, right? We're not charging for those annual review meetings or the family meetings, but I've always believed that if I develop that relationship with the clients and they see me as a professional advisor, because I'm working with them and I get to know them, if they have future legal needs, they're coming back to me. So, I mean, we all have to, if you use the word sell, we all have to, be able to generate new clients and to be able to survive as a business entity, but it's about doing the right things. And, whether it's Chris with your bank, and I tell people all the time, I don't know any other trust company that does what you do, because you guys do the same thing where you reach out to clients. You sit in on my meetings. No other trust company has ever sat in on my design meetings to know how the trust works. You guys aren't getting paid a dime. You may never make any money on that deal because you may never get to that point of being the successor trustee, but you guys have this belief, and it's evident in what you do. You've never told me this, but the belief is if you treat people right and show them the value you bring, they're going to want to stay with you. And you guys sit in on those meetings and you answer questions and you reach out to them on a regular basis to make sure that you understand what's going on. And I appreciate that. And Mark, the same thing with your office. And it's the way you guys treat clients. And Mark, to your point, I say this, you talk about some of the advisors that you're coaching and working with, and they're all about product sales and that. And it's one of my complaints about your industry is that I see a whole lot of advisors out there that, in the term I use for them, are mutual fund salespeople. And that's what they're just interested in making. And you have others that take it a step further in what I would call accumulation advisors. And hopefully they're good at it. And many of them are pretty good at helping you accumulate and get, your assets to a point where you can get to retirement, and, they're good at growing the assets. But so few are what I call true professional money managers that are retirement planning, specialists who know how to just grow the money, accumulate it, but understand that the game changes when you get into retirement. And, now the strategies we use in retirement are very different than the strategies we used to grow up, because now it becomes a focus on, tax planning and long-term care protections and all those kinds of Social Security benefit claiming. And, so it's back to work with professionals, the values and the advice they give. You got to work with professionals who are holistic, I guess, who understand all this, who see the end game. And I think, Mark, you do that, Chris, and the trust company, you guys do a fantastic job on that. So I say we all have the similar view on that. So that's why I enjoy working with you guys, and why we're all three, I guess, teamed up here. We share in those beliefs.
Hey, so let me throw out a question to you guys. I've asked this question to a lot of my clients over the years that are business owners. And I'll ask you the same question is, did you guys go to school and get a degree in human resources, HR, how to hire, how to fire? Did you guys get a lot of education on how to run a business, looking at profit and losses and how to delegate responsibility? Did you guys go to school for that stuff?
I'll start with this answer, and I tell people this a lot. Yeah, I got a degree in accounting and finance, and do I use it in what I do every day? Absolutely. But the best piece of my education was putting myself through school working in a restaurant and dealing with people every day of different types. And they walked in expecting an experience in that restaurant. They wanted to be treated like people. They didn't just come to eat. We cooked tableside. I was a sommelier for the restaurant. We did things that no other restaurant did. And it was all about giving people an experience that was different than they could get somewhere else. And to me, that was the best part of my education, because that's where I learned to deal with the people aspects of what we do. And I've spent the last 30 years then taking that and changing that to, okay, how does that apply to the business? When somebody walks in the door, what is it that they're actually looking for? What is it that everybody has issues with children, issues with family, issues that we need to discover that we can't do with a questionnaire. We can't give them a piece of paper and read a document and say, okay, this is what they're really dealing with inside their heart, inside their mind, inside their soul. And the only way that you get to that is by actually being empathetic and caring about the people that are sitting across the table from you. If you don't care, you shouldn't be doing what you're doing anyway.
Do you guys ever, let me back it up for a second. I personally have not had any training. My degree is also in finance, like yours, Chris, that I use every day for my business. But a big part of my business that has nothing to do with finance. It's running the company. It's working with people, working with my team around me, and some of the challenges that they have to deal with in their lives. And we're all going through this whole coronavirus, and it's like we're all learning this as we go. And I always find that my most successful business owner clients are the ones who have figured out how to be a business owner, not figured out how to be just a better salesperson. Because being a better business owner just means a lot more things. And so I find that with that doctor situation, I find that with you guys, and I like to consider myself pretty savvy when it comes to how we run business and how we do marketing and this sort of stuff. But yeah, we don't get trained for this. There's just no training to go through this. And I think it's just you learn it as you go. And the people out there watching these videos out there like this, It's whenever you come across a professional, good could just be someone coming over to do some home improvement projects at your house or whatever. It's, are they giving you options, and are they giving you the pros and cons with those options? And then do they explain the why to those options? If you're not getting that, then you're likely to just maybe make a mistake. So on that same subject, I'm going to share this, is that I found out last night, after my son and I met these two orthopedic surgeons last week. The first orthopedic surgeon, which I didn't feel great about while I was there, I felt even worse about that person after I went to the second doctor, was I found out that my father-in-law had major surgery done last year on feet and ankles, and he's still nowhere near to where he needs to be. And just happened to be that the doctor that performed his surgery was the first doctor that my son and I got to go see last week. And it's like, oh, so I'm telling my father-in-law last night, once we figured this out, I'm like, oh, if you need to go back, which I think he does, let me give a referral to another doctor, because of how he talked to us, how he treated us, and how he explained the options, and how the why comes with that. So I think that's, you either have it or you don't. It's a skill that is not, you're not born with. It's something that you acquire, but you have to have the ability to want to acquire that kind of a skill set. And that first doctor did not have it, but the second doctor did. Now, I don't know like you guys, I give a lot of referrals, and I'm proud to give referrals. I get a lot of referrals, but I'm proud to give referrals. I give referrals to you guys all the time, but I'm giving referrals to mortgage people and construction people, home improvement project people. I had a good experience buying a car from a dealership. Anybody wants to buy a car, that type of car, I give a referral, because I like to share good experiences. And will I give a referral to somebody that I didn't have a good experience with? No, not at all. Doesn't matter if I bought it or not, I used it or whatever, I'm not gonna give that person a referral. So I think that's how I kind of look at myself as, is my office at Affinity Asset Management, are our clients going out of the way to talk about us in the good times and the bad times to their friends and loved ones? And if they are, that says we must be doing something right. And it's not just one or two things. It's like all of these things that we impact their life, we must be doing something right. And same thing with you guys. I am always excited. I almost feel like I'm singing your guys' praises from the rafters sometimes. I feel like, man, am I overselling them? No, I'm just passionate about you guys. I'm passionate about how you treat my clients, and I'm passionate about how you make me look good in front of those clients, because I referred you to them and they come back to me talking about what a great experience it was. And I feel good that I was able to help them with that good experience and coming to you guys. So I just want to say thank you guys for that.
Oh, I appreciate that. Glenn?
I mean, I don't know if that was a question or a prompt to say something, but I know, I think, it's what I was saying earlier. It's the same experience we have. And, people do business with people they like and trust. And Mark, I think it goes to more than just, that they need to learn a skill set. Sometimes I just think it goes to the heart of the matter, I guess. Are people treating people the way they should be treated? And I just think that so many of the people that I've run across, they don't have a heart or passion for serving others and for the people. And I think the three of us, do have that heart for people. And to me, that's what I look for. It's the person you're dealing with in any, not just in professional life, in a whole lot of different things, but especially where you're dealing with them in a profession type thing, whether it's your doctors or financial advisor or lawyer. It really goes to how they treat people, how they view that relationship, I guess. And I think we all have the thing. It's the client first mentality.
Well, unless you guys don't have anything else to say, let me kind of wrap up one thing here that has to do with Chris and myself. To people out there that watch this video, Chris at First Option Bank and then myself here at Affinity Asset Management, we're both known as what's called fiduciaries. And that term sometimes is not understood, but if I try to clarify that a little bit, people in our industry, in the financial industry, we kind of get paid one of two ways. We get paid to sell something, so that like a commission, we buy, sell, we get paid commissions. You pay the commission, we receive the commission. The other way is what's known as advisory fees. And to be able to charge advisory fees, you have to be a fiduciary, which requires one of two different types of licensing, very difficult to get. But a fiduciary means we don't get paid to buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. We get paid to manage the account. Our fees are tied to the portfolio's balance. So if we're doing a good job and the portfolio grows in size, then we make more and more money because our compensation, our fee is tied to the account size. If we're doing a bad job and the portfolio goes down, then our revenue is going down. So for Chris and I, we have skin in the game to grow the portfolio. We got skin in the game to protect the portfolio. And right now, and a lot of crazy times that we're in right now with coronavirus, pretty much any analyst and economist that we talk to says that by the time this whole thing's over with, it may be a couple years throughout all of economics of things to happen. We're gonna have like W's, multiple W's. And right now, all we've seen is a V, down and up. And we got a lot more stuff to come. And right now the stimulus is kind of helping a lot of things, but it's also kind of sweeping things off to the side to be dealt with later. So anybody out there who's looking for a good estate planning attorney, you want to look for one that is going to give you options and pros and cons and the why, and not just push one thing or another. People out there looking for somebody in the trust money management side of things or individual financial advising side, like mine and Chris's side of things, you want to look for fiduciaries. That's one of the first questions you should ask. And if that advisor is not a fiduciary, then that means the only thing they can sell you is something that is commission-based. And if that just means they don't make any money on growing your accounts, they don't make any money to protect your accounts. And I think that's probably important for everybody. So if you want something that's their compensation is tied to that, that's what you're looking for. You want to ask the question about being a fiduciary. Other than that, guys, any other parting words before we sign off?
Nope.
All right. Well, as usual, always, guys, thank you so much for joining us here today on Community Cafe. It was nice to have all three of us here today. Everybody watching, one last time, do us a favor, please click share on Facebook if you're watching us on Facebook, to share this with your friends and loved ones, and then go, afterwards when we sign off, go out to our Community Cafe Facebook page and click follow so you can follow us. It's a professional page, so we can't like you. You have to like us to be able to follow us, is how that works. So other than that, I'm going to say thank you for your Chris and Glenn for being on here today. Wish everybody health and safety coming up here for finishing out this summer. Thank you for watching our webinar here today. You guys take care.
Be blessed.
Thank you for tuning in. Take care.